Good evening. In these extraordinary times, I'd like to welcome you to the April 14th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. First up, we have a reserved decision. Appeal number 2009-029. Carr McVeigh LLC. Relief sought, public hearing pursuant to the order of the Supreme Court of the State of New York dated April 2nd, 2013, that remanded the matter to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a new hearing and determination to review the letter dated April 8th, 2008, made by Richard Hanley, Planning Director, regarding the addition or use of temporary tent on the property, and to renew the Planning Director, Richard Hanley's letter dated January 16th, 2009, regarding the applicant's second site plan application to locate the barn on the property upon the same grounds set forth in the April 8th, 2008 letter. The application is denied and dismissed as set forth in the written decision wherein. And do I hear a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Mr. Barnes. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to take, you.
I'm a little confused. What's the dismissed part?
I did not, the decision is written by outside counsel, so I don't want to comment on that, but it's what it says.
Based on the foregoing information.
Did you read it?
I read parts of it.
Okay.
I read the original one this morning,
Right.
but then I went to see my mother, so I haven't read the whole thing. But in theory and in principle, it's an aye.
Okay, that's exactly right.
Who's next?
Okay, Mr. Gazillo,
Aye.
Mrs. Zaweski,
Abstain.
and Mr. Whitmire.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Therefore, your appeal's been denied. Okay, next up.
Appeal 2022-008, Mary E. Razor, 174 Manor Lane, Jamesport. Tax map number 600-47-211, APZ zoning, for variances and a relief from Chapter 301, Section 37A1B, where proposed accessory structure setback to side property line is 10 feet and minimum required is 25 feet.
Okay, just raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and your address.
Mary E. Razor, and I live at 174 Manor Lane in Riverhead, Jamesport.
You have the floor.
Okay. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do, but I'll just say
Just
what I need.
state what you're looking for.
Yes, okay. So I'm looking for relief from the agricultural protected zone setbacks, which actually I think they're 20 feet, to build a small in-ground pool that would be 10 feet from the property line. The house, as it stands now, that was newly built, had a variance created by the builder, or approved by the board, by the builder, and there's only 10 feet setback from the house to the property line. So it would be in line with the house. And if I were to do it's only 50 feet wide, my property, so if I were to use a 20-foot setback, that would make for a 10-foot wide pool.
Okay.
So my pool would be 14 by 32 long. It's a very long and skinny property, 10 feet from the left side of the property line.
Do you live there?
Yes.
Gentlemen, questions?
I don't have this.
No questions.
Anybody else?
Anyone else out there have any questions about this application? Young lady, you're in good shape.
Thank you.
Where'd you get that flag, the Ukrainian thing, for the house? You had that sign about Ukraine, supporting Ukraine, where'd you get that from?
Online,
Oh, okay, thank
there
you.
was a little Support Ukraine
You're right.
package.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, yeah, please. If nobody else has anything to say, okay. Off you go.
Move that the appeal of Mary E. Razor, 174 Manor Lane, Jamesport, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-47-2-11, AP zoning for variances and/or relief from Chapter 301, Section 37A1B, where proposed accessory structure setback to side property line is 10 feet and minimum required is 25 feet, be granted in accordance with the application and sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector. Just got a second.
Are there any motions? Seconds?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Whitmire?
Aye.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mr. Gazillo?
Aye.
Mr. Zawiski?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Thank
So
you
I know
very
you look
much.
very nervous getting up there, but
Thank
you'll
you.
have a pool hopefully for the summer.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Take good care.
Nice house.
Cute house.
I don't want to say cute.
Go ahead, Chris.
Appeal 2022-009, Granville House Victorians LLC, 432 East Avenue, Riverhead, tax map number 600-126-448, RA 40 zoning. For variances and a relief from Chapter 301, Section 11, where proposed front yard setback is 20 feet, minimum required is 50 feet. Proposed rear yard setback is 31.6 feet, minimum required is 60 feet. Where proposed side yard is 8 feet, minimum required is 25 feet. Where proposed side yard abutting side street is 18.8 feet, minimum required is 50 feet. Where proposed combined side yard is 26.8 feet, minimum required is 75 feet. And where lot size is 5,417 square feet, minimum required is 40,000 square feet.
You better take those thingamajigs and bring them up here because there's no way we're going to be able to read them.
Those are pictures?
Oh, yeah.
Those are pictures?
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
you
yeah.
got 'em.
I put this for the audience, if anyone had any questions, I can show.
Well, you can give it to those guys in the back, you know. I'm sure Mr. DeLuca will question him tomorrow on it. Okay, yeah, we got him. Okay, just
Good e-
raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and your address.
Van Camberis, 16 Riverdale Avenue, Massapequa, New York. Good evening, Chairman McLaughlin and Vice Chairman Whitmer, and also members of the board. My name is Van Camberis. My partner in Granville House Victorians, Doug Morell, is sitting right there. Granville House proposes to build a single-family home on a vacant lot at 432 East Avenue and the corner of Northville. And the lot previously had, or formerly had, a house on it that burnt down in 2010. And all of these exhibits show the Google historical photos of the house when it existed. The setbacks are for acre zoning, it's an A40 zone, but the lot is only 5,000 square feet, so we don't conform to any of the setbacks, the side yards, the front, the rear, and the area setbacks.
Perfect.
However, but it does conform to the street and the neighborhood, and I show that in all of the exhibits. If you'd like, I can go through each one.
Go through a couple of them for
Okay.
us, please.
All right, the first one here is the way the lot looks today, circled in red.
Sorry, can you stay by the mic? 'Cause
Oh,
the
okay.
mic's there.
Yeah, we have our copies.
Okay, you do, okay, good. So, is there anyone in the audience that I should be speaking to that's here to?
Those guys in the back really don't care. They're just killing time here. Mr. DeLuca.
They're not
They
gonna-
showed.
They're not gonna vote.
Well, this is kind of I call this the working man's historic neighborhood, or historic area. Because all the houses, basically, this house was built also, the data is here, in public record. The house that burnt down was built in 1896. It was probably the first house in the area. But if you look here, this is an historic image from Google, and it shows the house in 2010. The next year, the image didn't show up, so when I did a little research, it had actually burnt down. Over here, the setbacks to the two houses right next door, one is 10 feet and one is 16 feet, and that's relevant because I'm asking for 20 in conformance with the neighborhood. The next exhibit is the footprint. I show the house that we're going to build, rendering in the top view, and then in red is the old house, the former house. And also, the former house had two levels, just like our house. Each level was approximately 600 square feet. We're proposing a house with 2 levels, each is about 800 square feet. So again, it's keeping with the general character, the size, and the neighborhood. Over here, you'll see the lots are all outlined, the footprints in blue. Most of the side yards are 8 to 10 feet. A couple of them are only 4 feet. So it's kind of a dog's breakfast, I call it, when it comes to zoning. It's all over the place. I made a statement that all the lots in the area were approximately 5,000 square feet, but I'm not sure that's really accurate. There may be some bigger, there may be a few small. But in general, they're all small lots, an acre to an acre. Over here is an aerial view. The aerial view just shows the area and gives you a feeling of what kind of housing and what kind of lots there are in the general area. Over here is the 2010 Google historical map. Over here, we make the case for the driveway coming off of Northville, because that's where the original driveway came off of. There's a very substantial curb cut and apron that still exists, and we wanted to use that as the driveway for the new house. This is a picture of the house we want to build. It's a rendering. It's called the Theo. And it's very much in keeping with some of the houses on that street and in that neighborhood. Although many of the houses are only 1 story, 1.5 story, ours is 2. Over here I show a survey with the different side yard setbacks and also how we don't conform in any way to acre zoning. So that's what we're looking for relief on, all of the setbacks. But the house is in substantially the same place the original house was in. Over here, then there's elevations of the house we propose, and then the last slide has data that was taken from the public records. I also outlined, didn't include, which showed the garage being demolished, but I'm not sure where the garage was. It was just attached garage. Our garage is going to be a carport attached to the side. I think that probably covers it.
Okay.
Your garage is a proposed carport on the survey, is that correct?
Say again?
The garage space on your survey, labeled as proposed carport, right?
Carport, yes.
Okay. Any board members have any questions?
Just as a point of information, I think this house was deemed to be unsafe. And the town, I think, had ordered it to be torn down. But I think the garage was the one that burnt down.
Oh, see, you know what it is? I never got to the bottom of that.
You have to talk into the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Well, that was another problem.
yeah, that's information, which I never found out really. I talked to planning, I talked to building, I talked to the legal department, and they said that it was gone. And then when I looked at, it was actually built in 1896, it could have just fallen down,
It
actually.
was actually abandoned, and
Oh, it
it
was?
was deteriorated.
Oh, I
The
see,
town held a hearing, and they knocked it down.
I get it,
Called it Chapter 54 back then, back in the day.
right.
That's just a point of information.
No, that's good, no, I know, because at one point I thought there may have been something like some toxic problem with the ground, or, you know, I don't know, meteorite hit it, something, you know, some bad luck, I don't know, I wouldn't believe that anyway, but.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, anybody have anything to say about this application in the audience? Nobody? Board members?
No questions.
Is there a
It's not
motion?
that complicated.
Mr. Chairman, respectfully move that the appeal of Granville House Victorians LLC, 432 East Avenue, Riverhead, SCTM number 600-126-4-48, RA4 zoning for variance and/or relief of Chapter 301, Section 11, where proposed front yard setback is 20 feet and minimum required is 50 feet, where proposed rear yard setback is 31.6 feet and minimum required is 60 feet, where proposed side yard is 8 feet and minimum required is 25 feet, and where proposed side yard abutting side street is 18.8 feet and minimum required is 50 feet, where proposed combined side yard is 26.8 feet and minimum required is 75 feet, and where lot size is 5,417 square feet and minimum required is 40,000 square feet, be approved in accordance with the applications and sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector.
Second.
All right. Mr. Whitmire.
Aye.
Mr. Barnes.
Aye.
Mr. Gazillo.
Aye.
Mr. Zawiski.
Aye.
I vote aye. So the appeal has been granted, and there'll be a new house on,
Thank you very
East
much,
Street.
gentlemen.
Okay.
Nice to see
We
you.
appreciate it.
thank
Good
you.
luck.
The one you're building is the model on your website?
Yeah, on the website, this is our entry into the affordable house market.
Okay.
It's a little bit bigger than what we want to build. This is like almost 18, we want to build about 15, but it's the same structure. It talks to the same things that we want to do in order to create an
Oh, it
affordable
looks like a
house.
nice little house. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a good night.
Yes.
We'll get 'em.
Appeal 2022-010, 200 Scott Avenue, Calverton, tax map number 600-135.20-1-13, PIP zoning, for an interpretation of Chapter 301, Section 185A, where proposed recycling, solid waste management use is not specifically permitted. The proposed use, however, is akin to specifically prohibited uses, dumps and garbage disposal dumps, landfills, incinerators, or transfer stations. Industrial uses are those involved with manufacturing, creation of a product typically within a building. The proposed use is deemed to be a salvage recycling use, breaking down used and waste products into raw materials.
All right, Mr. Persinowski, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and your address.
Vic Pershinowski, 533 Elton Street, Riverhead, New York. I'm consultant with this group. A couple of years ago, they came before the town board with this proposal. They wanted to locate it in front of the, on our landfill. At the time, it was decided that it was the wrong location for a project like this, and they were directed to look into the EPCAL property, into the industrial subdivision. 3 years later that we're here, we finally found a piece of property that somebody was willing to sell us, one of the lots on Scott Avenue. It's zone PIP, and what we're going to, I'll start my presentation right now, and we just have a short presentation tonight. So we're here tonight to present evidence that the organic digestive project proposed by CEA Energy LLC conforms to the current zoning plan industrial park PIP, as described under Section 301-185A1, industrial uses, and does not violate the prohibiting uses Section 301-114A. When we asked the zoning administrator for a determination this use conforms to the PIP zoning as an organics manufacturing process several years ago, and again recently, limited general knowledge of the technology is really not well known in the general public. In addition, this organic manufacturing process has evolved with the new state-of-the-art technology. Our mission tonight will be to educate the board and the general public to this technology and to confirm that it conforms in every way with the existing PIP code as written, because we're truly a manufacturing process. Since this hearing is to determine if this proposed use falls within the PIP zoning, I want to point out a recent action taken by the Riverhead Town Board last year and again this year. The Town Board approved a special permit to allow drag auto racing at EPCAL. Nowhere in the PIP code are the words auto racing cited as an allowed use or a disallowed use. Only under Section 108-230, Section B, Special Permit Uses, Section 1, Outdoor Sports Facilities is cited. The Town Board interpreted this section to mean that drag racing is a customary use to an outdoor sports facility. So therefore, since an organics processing facility is not listed nor prohibited as a use, our contention is that it should be considered a customary manufacturing use as defined in Section 1 of the permitted use section of the code. In conclusion, if you were to grant our request that we conform to the PIP code by no means is it an approval of the project, as we must then make application to the town, the state, the county agencies for all the approvals to construct a facility. This process will entail a full environmental regulatory review by said agencies. So what we have tonight, we have the team here tonight, and they're going to give the short presentation. We'll make our case. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions from the board and the general public. First, we have Mark Lembo. He's a well-known environmentalist for 25 years in Suffolk County. He's worked for many technology companies, and he's the synergy. He's the guy that's put this whole thing together to get this project going. Then we have Richard Gailey, who is a professional engineer, Gailey Engineering PC. He's done many projects like this, which he'll explain to you. And then we have Michael Gianchanta, who is he's an environmental specialist in this field. So, guys, who's up first? Okay. And we'll start the slide presentation.
And if you kindly raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
State your name and your address.
Michael G. Anchetter, 3 Farragut Place, Huntington, New York.
You have the floor.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I forgot. I have a hard copy of the presentation for each board member.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
I'll take one. You're off. Go good.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, all, and thank you again for your time tonight. My name is Michael G. Anchetter. I am the Executive Vice President of CEA Energy. I am a Lead AP, Leadership, Energy, and Environmental Design, a designation provided by the United States Green Building Council, as well as an expert in the field of environmental services for the past 30 years. The CEA Energy team comes before you today to ask for your approval and support of our planned development of an anaerobic digester at the identified EPCAL property. Over the last decade, the world has become very aware and is committed to finding solutions to solve the waste management and energy independence problems that exist today and are no truer than right here on Long Island. No longer is it acceptable to open new landfills. Existing ones are closing. New incinerators are not being considered to manage these processable waste streams. Recent regulations and enforcement for the diversion of processing of organics and renewable feedstock are now in effect in many states, including New York, Connecticut, and others, concerning the segregation, handling, and processing of organic materials by large volume generators such as food wholesalers, manufacturers, supermarkets, catering halls, and conference centers. These current regulations target commercial operation generators who produce over 100 tons of organic waste per year, or an average of 2 tons of unused food scraps per week, will be required to source, segregate, and utilize these manufacturing facilities to manage and process these collected organics. No more do countries, states, counties, cities, or towns want to keep concerned about the local businesses or residents' ever-growing high cost of energy and related waste management expenses that are currently being paid. We have a problem. It is a problem-solving world, and we are taking the challenge to tackle that complex we are taking on the challenge of complex solutions, with complex solutions to unordinary problems. We at CEA have met this challenge, and with your support tonight, our indoor organic processing facility is designed and will be built by a team with over 100 years of combined environmental and engineering expertise. with over 30 years of proven experience in anaerobic digestion and other processing technologies, along with other industry experts to establish a state-of-the-art industrial organic manufacturing facility built to specifically provide an organic waste-to-energy solution to meet this demand with a sustainable, advanced technology that is proven and offers ongoing community and economic benefits. Our unique approach enables us to develop facilities economically and effectively in a region that supports the volumes of organics, crops, agricultural residues, and ends with the production of biogas and a new green electricity stream. CEA's facilities are designed typically to accept between 200 and 400 tons of source-segregated food waste per day, converting it into methane, which will be then used to run the site and also generate electricity to send back to the grid, or more importantly, directly to EPCAL users. Our facility produces sellable byproducts, which include certified organic fertilizer and can be used by the local farmers, along with a number of construction and operational part-time and permanent employment opportunities for those in the community. The first steps towards the mitigation and solution of these problems is your support of our dynamic technology facility. We thank you for your time and hopefully your support for this needed environmentally friendly solution. I will quickly take you through a very brief PowerPoint that will hopefully answer some of the more technical specific questions and then allow any questions to myself and my colleagues. Our mission, if you would, thank you. Our mission is to further the manufacturing and processing of organics through a state-of-the-art anaerobic digestion facility to produce compressed natural gas and natural organically certified fertilizers to close the energy cycle by utilizing food waste for energy and to produce more food. Next slide, please. It is a fact that 40 to 50% of all food waste never gets eaten. Food can either be produced through various streams, obviously through damage through transit, waste through the production and consumer, not eaten at home. With over 232 million tons of food waste generated in the U.S. this year, anaerobic digestion is one of the primary solutions to solve this problem and reduce the carbon dioxide that is generated from the fossil fuel use. The U.S. spends $1 billion annually to dispose of food waste. Landfills are the source of 20% of the U.S. methane emissions. Next slide, please. In New York State, along with many other states, regulations have been implemented and law is now in effect. The solution to the problem is the facility that we propose. It will enable and allow the community and the industry to meet the demands of the requirements. Next slide, please. CEA has partnered with a U.S.-based global technology provider to provide a complete industrial treatment facility and an organic waste-to-energy solution. Hundreds of facilities have been built worldwide utilizing this technology across the globe. We have the right solution, the toughest processing systems available. Next slide. Takes you through a little bit of the process and how the treatment and ultimately the production through the manufacturing facility produces the sellable commodities that are generated from, next slide please, from the various industries that are served. Obviously the majority of the materials that we will be seeing are coming out of the soft drink, meat, poultry, seafood, dairy, confectionery, looking at many and all, food source supplies that will, be processed at the facility and produced into marketable commodity. All process will be handled internally, inside under roof and cover. Minimal amount of impact on trucks and transit to the facility. Odor control is built into the operation of the facility, so to mitigate any concern relevant to community odor. None of the material is at all in direct contact with community or other entity. Next slide, please. And one more. That's a rendering of the proposed facility. As you can see, everything is under roof and cover, processed internally through some advanced technology, very disruptive advanced technology that is now becoming mainstream across the world, and we hope to bring it to our region. Next slide, please. A little bit more on the technology and the process. Any specific questions on that, I'll direct to Rich Galley, PE and Design Specialist. Again, next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, our site is proposed to process 200 tons per day. It does have expansion capability if so desired. Various organics, will be processed, and results will be production of the CNG and sellable fertilizers and others, as I mentioned earlier. The last slide, the next slide, I'm sorry, is a kind of where it would look, how it would look on the property as it relates to the community in general, which is a little bit more on the, on the plant itself and what we do inside it from a manufacturing perspective. And the last slide is us asking and thanking you again for your time this evening and your support to allow us to do the work that we hope to provide. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Where are these facilities that you said they're across the country? Are there any that you can point to?
Well, the closest facility is in Connecticut.
Okay.
That is currently operational, but they are built throughout the North America and all over Europe, as well as other states. But the closest for us, proximity-wise, right now, is in Connecticut.
How old is that plant?
Southington, Connecticut, I believe 10 maybe? 7 years ago. The technology that we're bringing forth is advanced, it's proven, it's regulated, and Rich, who's the owner of Galley Engineering, founder along with Mark of CEA Energy, has been building these plants for the past 30 years for industry, private sector. Many of the organic farmers and other facilities who produce self-generated materials have been building these plants to manage and produce their own on-site power and supply. Now with the new regulated mandates that are being put forth by on the federal and state side, commercialization, a facility that will accept this material through the rail spurs, through the hauling industry, a destination is required. We intend to bring that destination, produce the valuable commodities.
What's the capacity of the Connecticut unit compared to the one that you're proposing here?
I believe Connecticut is, but 140 tons per day is the Connecticut facility. And each facility is currently designed to meet the demands of the region and the supply chains that have been identified. For us, ours is roughly 200 for the facility.
And you're talking 200?
200, correct.
So could you take me through a little bit of actually how, I want to understand the details more. I'm familiar with anaerobic digestion. You indicated that this stuff would be separated, sourced, and sealed when it was coming in. Can you explain that a little bit more? I'm trying to understand what really is taking place. What would you expect to be coming in there? How is it sealed?
Sure.
How is it transported? All of that. I mean, how many trucks are you expecting? 200 tons is 10, 20 ton or,
No
dump
problem.
trucks.
I'll answer what I
But-
can. Rich will fill in the blanks along the way. All material is delivered directly into an enclosed facility. So there's no offloading exterior, everything, the trucks will drive in, the rail spur will come in, it'll be offloaded. The packaged goods are both manufactured generators, skidded material, shrink wrapped and packaged in original packaging, where they will be decased inside the building and processed. In the case of the municipal or commercial waste that'll come in through the haulers industry for the commercialization, they come directly into the building where the material will be dropped into a self-contained facility that will support that through the tonnage. As far as the transportation and impact, our facility has minimal impact as far as the external engagement, because the majority of the material we hope to bring in will come in through the rail spur.
Okay, so it's coming in through the rail spur. Now, is it sealed? Is it enclosed? What exactly?
Yeah.
I mean,
All
because
the
I'm trying
containers-
to grasp the
Understood.
size of
They
this.
come in sealed containers. They're sealed containers. Please.
We would like to know the
Thank you.
size.
All right.
Yeah.
You swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
State it. You want to raise your hand? There you go.
Yes, I
And
do.
just state your name and your address.
Name is Richard Galley, G-A-L-L-I, 17 Burns Court, Greenlawn, New York. The material as it comes in is in sealed containers from the rail facilities. The rail facilities are loaded at recycling or transfer stations could be any municipality that has that type of operation where they can load those containers. Those containers have a cap on it. They're in a sealed operation. There's a cap on it, and they stay in that container until it comes to the site and is received. It's brought into the building. You know, the door's closed. There's negative air on that is treating the air before any type of before it's released to the atmosphere. We have a biological filter as well as a carbon absorption system to remove the odors. But everything, when it comes into the building, doors are closed, the offloading takes place, the trucks, if they're bringing in containers or if they're coming in like a packer truck, local food that's collected, within a short surrounding area, does not pay to put it on rail. It would come in by packer trucks. Those trucks would be sealed also. And when they're brought in, they would back into the facility, doors close, the air handling system is on to provide the negative air, so there's no air sweeping through the building to allow odors out. The material is then discharged into a series of pits. Those pits essentially have screw systems in them to start breaking up the material, the waste, the organics with there may be pre-consumer, for example, expired food or expired fruit juices and bottles. Those all get fed into this pit, and then the pit, through use of screw pumps and such, the material is depackaged. So the organics are depackaged from the styrofoam, the plastic, the cardboard, and that material is then taken and used. That comes out actually fairly clean, although it still has some food residue. That's then put in containers and shipped off to a recycler. The organics at that point will then be fed into the digesters. It goes into a couple of different tanks where you think of it as you're creating a stew. All this material's coming in, you want to kind of homogenize it so that you're feeding a constant feed to the digesters. Imagine your own body as a digester. You feed it at the right rate. You don't get an upset stomach. You overeat, or you eat some foods that don't quite agree with you, you get an upset stomach. That's what we want to prevent with the digestion process that takes place. So the best way to explain it is there's certain formulas that you're blending together of the various types of waste or food waste, the organics that you have. You want to try to create a situation where you have the right recipe going into the digesters. The digesters then organically biologically break down the organics and create the methane product that is what's the most desirable. That gas then is collected and is then cleaned up into pipeline quality gas. That pipeline quality gas, we call it renewable natural gas. Some people call it compressed natural gas. Depending on the final use of it, if there is enough trucks in the area that could use the CNG, we'd be happy to sell the local haulers compressed natural gas. But our intention would be to try to put that into a pipeline that currently exists on the property. Some of the gas will be used on site for generating our own captive power, so that we're not using any outside forms of energy. Everything is renewable, it's green, and we're able to process this effectively. There is a dewatering step that takes place where we squeeze out some of the, let's call them the juices from this fermentation process. We then take the biosolids and we dry them and pelletize them for future use for fertilizer. The liquid is going to be treated and pre-treated and discharged into the Calverton wastewater treatment system, and it will be discharged at domestic levels. So we're intending to not have a high-strength waste going into the sewer system. There are 3 products that we're manufacturing here: renewable natural gas, the fertilizer, and there's even some type of ammonium sulfate that we're creating as a chemical. That kind of takes you through the process. I hope I explained it well enough for you.
That was helpful. And your foods, your stocks are all basically human-grade food?
All human grade, but we can also take agricultural waste into the facility. If they, there are quite a few facilities right now at this time being built in the country, for example, to handle swine manure as well as dairy manure. The very valuable renewable gas products that are coming off these operations at a very high value, especially out in the state of California.
Okay.
Mr. Galley, the people, for lack of a better word, provide, I guess, the raw materials before you're present. Do you pay them, or do they pay you?
They pay us.
Okay.
This is a service that's going to be required. The state of New York last year has passed this law that was spoken about by my colleague Mike. Any large food generator, this could be an institution, it could be a hospital, college, as well as any type of food preparation operation. Anybody who generates more than 2 tons per week of waste is going to be required to deliver that, segregate that food waste and organics and bring that to a facility such as this.
How much on-site storage of gas do you anticipate?
We don't anticipate all that much storage. We're looking at taking the gas and using it, processing it, cleaning it up to pipeline quality, and then using some of the gas for our own power generation, and using it also for the drying of the biosolids or the solids to fertilizer-grade material. Think of what you apply to your lawn, kind of like what Scott's or, one of those companies, we would be manufacturing. We're not looking to get into that business. That's their business. We're just looking to create a wholesale product that can be sold to one of those companies for future distribution.
So in your renderings, outside of the digester tanks, is there a gas storage tank or anything along those lines?
The gas is stored above the tanks. There's a membrane that is flexible, and as the gas rises inside that membrane, rubber membrane, the gas is stored in those. And then it's drawn out of there into a compressors for various, for its various uses.
Okay, so there is no separate CNG tank that's just
No.
sitting there, you're pumping?
Well, if we're gonna have let me say this, we will have, if there's enough truck traffic or cars or vehicles or buses who could use the CNG, we will have a tank to be able to supply the CNG for those uses. The biogas that comes out of the digesters is about 60 to 65% methane, what goes into a CNG vehicle or is being put into a pipeline as renewable natural gas is essentially 100% product. So you would store those separately. What's stored in the vessel inside this rubber membrane, that would be the biogas, which would end up having to be eventually treated and, to pipeline quality, and then that would be stored in a tank to be able to make deliveries, to have trucks and vehicles fuel up.
So that portion, when you more or less get rid of the non-methane air in there, that's just vented out through some process?
There is a vent, it's a flare, which is a device used to, especially during startup of the digester, the gas quality is still pretty low. You want to flare that gas off, so that, it's not worth trying to process. But once you're in operation, you want to try to minimize what goes out to that flare. There will be, we will have all the permits associated with, needed by DEC and local health departments to operate the facility in compliance with the regulations.
Okay, and then my just last question, the pelletized product, is that stored inside or is that stored outside?
That'll be stored inside the building. We don't want to, we've just spent a great deal of energy, if you want to call it, to dry that product and pelletize it. You store it outside. We anticipate moving the material in 1-ton totes, and unless we had a vendor who wants us to put it in a 50-pound bag, that you would pick up like you would at Scott's or at Home Depot. The idea there is we don't want to get it wet again, because once it gets wet again, it'll start to break down and start to become a problem. This way it's stored it'll be stored inside the building. It'll be delivered, it will be shipped out by truck or even by rail.
Just, I said that was my last question, but my last question, in Connecticut, is that pretty much the way you're handling it? It's in bulk, that you're getting rid of this stuff and you're discharging it by rail, or?
They do it a little bit differently up there. The company there is called Quantum Biopower. And they take their dewatered solids, and they happen to have a wood mulching operation on their site. And that mulching operation, what they do is they mix it and blend it with the dewatered solids and create topsoil from that.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
Right, you're welcome.
Boys, anybody else have anything to say?
Anybody else?
Do you have anybody else to bring up, Victor?
I got a question. Go ahead. Excuse me. How long does it take to, say, this thing get approved? How long does it take to get open? How long does it take to get built and operational?
We anticipate it'll take about 18 months to get permits from the relative agencies, and it'll take 14 to 16 months to build.
3 years. Okay, Victor.
I just want to have Mark come up here and kind of wrap it up. Basically, our position is that when this original zoning was put in place years ago, this technology, it's like cell phones. We didn't ever had cell phones 25 years ago. So it's a new technology. It's kind of silent in the code. We're not a transfer station. This is not a garbage dump. This is not bring garbage in, bring garbage out. I understand that very well. I was on the town board. We were here when we put the garbage collection system in place in Riverhead. I thoroughly understand. This is none of that. This is the new technology, which is, I guess, everybody in the world today is something that we have to do to protect the environment for the future. So, but Mark will just talk about. Yeah.
You mentioned the town board and the drag racing. That wasn't a special permit, it's a special event.
Oh, a special event. Okay, right. Okay, it's a little bit different then. Because I saw it in the car, I just assumed they did a special permit. Okay, Mark, go ahead.
All right, Mark.
How you doing?
Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Just lower that microphone a little bit, state your name and your address.
Mark Lembo, 18 Rita Court, Wading River, New York. I just wanted to say that we talked about Southern Connecticut, that's like our sister facility. Basically, we're using the same technology that they use. We really didn't basically build that. They had their own company build that. And when we first came to the town board about doing this, members of the town board did go up to Southington to take a look at, kick the tires, and basically their main thing was about the odor, what's being kept outside. That seems to be everybody's main concern. And when it went up, once you got up to it, you couldn't smell anything unless you went inside the building. So they were very happy with that. And just for me, I've been a resident of Riverhead for 40 years. Been on worked within my community, and this was a dream of mine to have something like this done. It's taken the town all of these years to get us to this point, for EPCAL. We've gone through different realms, ski mountains, this, that, and finally I think we're really starting to hone in on the industrial park as long as it's environmentally sound, and this facility will then basically help us, and especially the tenants of EPCAL, because we can produce electricity, and if we can get something, some type of a PPA from the town, then we're willing to use some of what we're doing to produce power to help the tenants of the of EPCAL. And the third thing is we need to utilize the rail. The rail spur is underutilized at this point. We're going to utilize that as much as possible because we envision a lot of our food, organics coming from the city, from grocery stores, other places, and they can just put it on the rail. We'll have it and we'll use it. So I want to thank you guys for the time. It was a little lengthy, but we appreciate the time and effort. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Thank you.
Okay, let's,
I see if anybody wants to oppose.
Mike, we're going to take some members of the audience up and see what they have to say, and then you can probably answer their questions. Absolutely. Mrs. Blass, I'm sure you're ready to come up and... Oh, just a guess.
She just missed you.
And if you raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and your address.
Yes, sir. My name is Barbara Blass. I live at 621 Peconic Bay Boulevard in Jamesport. First, please understand that my comments are coming from a totally different perspective, and I am in no way questioning this board's ability to make an appropriate determination in this matter, nor am I questioning any of your prior interpretations. I'm not even commenting on the merits of this application because I don't think that's what this hearing was about. I am questioning why this board is once again being put in a situation of having to render an interpretation because of vague code language relative to solid waste. There is currently an application before the planning board for a solid waste management facility, specifically a C&D processing facility requiring a DEC Part 360 permit. That operation was also the subject of an interpretation by your board because of indistinct code language. As I stated in my remarks to the planning board during the public hearing on that application last November, and I'll now say again, solid waste management facilities should be specifically addressed in our code so that these uses don't find their way into a zoning use district because of vague language, especially since these facilities, as we heard this evening, are usually designed to be regional in nature, importing waste from those generated outside of the town of Riverhead. Our recently adopted solid waste management plan, a planning document which was specifically designed to address waste actually generating within the town, also didn't clarify whether these facilities are needed or how to address their siting within existing or future zoning use districts. There is a bigger, broader issue here. Mandates are indeed coming down, causing us to change the way we view things such as solid waste and recycling and how we generate electricity, to name just a few. New technologies and new challenges require new approaches and new solutions, for sure. We're currently updating our comprehensive plan, affording us an ideal opportunity to holistically approach these challenges. Each decision-making board and every town department should be energized to make the most of the tools we have available to navigate this new territory and meet these new challenges. So I'll bring it full circle. It's to everyone's benefit, applicants, residents, and decision makers such as yourself, to have clear, current, and predictable language in our code, which in my humble opinion should be addressed as soon as practicable. I thank you very much for your time and consideration, and have a wonderful Easter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
And if you kindly raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and your address.
Mark Hobner, 132 Promenade Drive, Aquabog, New York, 11931. I have to say, by some stroke of whatever, I watched Mark. Where's Mark? Mark, sorry. I saw the back of your head for the entire meeting that was projected on Channel 22 this day. I think it was 4 years ago. And I was completely blown away that he was talking about 100 tons of food waste in a day. I was really very upset that we are wasting that much food. And then when he said he was going to go to 200, I was even more upset. But I've spent the last 4 years trying to figure out how to get food waste into our soils for our farms. And we have come, my team has come to I'm on the Environmental Advisory Committee, co-chair for the town. And after 4 years, it can't be done. There aren't enough farms. We waste 3 million people in Nassau and Suffolk County. Half a pound per person per day is 750 tons a day. All right, so taking the load off, I'm very much in favor of this technology 4 years later. 750 tons a day is coming out of these two counties. But the DEC has given us a list for Region 1. We're in Region 1. And there are only 5 large generators of 2 tons a week or more in Riverhead. And that's the Best Market, the Hilton Garden Inn, the Hyatt, TGI Fridays, and Walmart. The hospitals, schools, K through 12, and nursing homes are exempt from the DEC food scrap law right now. I'm sure that's coming down the pike. Residential is not even on their radar. We only put out 10 tons a day of food waste in our solid waste stream. Southold puts out 6 tons, so total for the 5 towns is 75 tons. So the feedstock coming from our 5 towns is not enough to feed this digester. It is a solid waste issue. The anaerobic digester is mentioned at 50 tons per day or more by DEC. It's regulated, it's permitted, sorry. It's going to be permitted, not just regulated, but they've got a lot of hoops to run through. I know what they are. Our solid waste management plan for Riverhead mentions food waste and biosolids several times in the solid waste management plan. And I will leave these with you. Compost, yard waste, construction demolition, and household waste, of which 40% of household waste is food waste. The DEC 361 3.3 subchapter B is about anaerobic digestion and other things, but it is a solid waste management issue. One of these is not going to be enough. One of these ADs is not going to be enough. We're going to need more, 4 or 5 more easily in our area. But we're not going to be the feedstock for that. I heard that the rail is going to bring food waste to the area, but I think it's got to be transferred then to the digester. I don't know how that works, all right? Just a consideration that food wastes have to be transferred either from the truck to the bay or transferred from the rail to the facility. There's a lot to consider.
I believe they said it was in a sealed container.
right, but how
That's
does,
opened up inside the building.
does it, oh, because there's going to be siding? Okay, so
Yeah,
that's,
It's opened up,
okay,
it doesn't, it's not opened up until it's in the facility.
okay. All right, so the rail cars are going in. All right, so with all of that, the idea is this is a new technology. I'm all in favor of it, I don't doubt these guys' qualifications whatsoever, but that's not why we're here. The idea is that this is a solid waste management issue. I know the landfills are closing. We got 100 weeks left on those. Brookhaven and Islip are both closing. Covanta right now in Hempstead is boosting their burn rate from 40 to 70% because we don't want to truck it off the island. This is a great alternative, but I don't think we're ready to figure out if 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 of these is going to be managed at the zoning level without a lot more thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else to be heard? Go ahead, Victor.
I want to respond to one thing, okay? Vic Pershnowski, Elton Street. First of all, our landfills have been closed since 1993. I was on the town board when we closed the landfills. So what's happening in Brookhaven, just so the general public knows, this is the cash for ash deal, where they bring the ash from the incinerator up in Nassau County, and that's what's creating the mountain. In this particular case, the issue is, he is correct, it's going to take us 24 months to get the permits. I agree with Barbara 100% that, and in fact, I just talked to Jefferson about this about 2 weeks ago, our planning director. What we should be doing now with these codes and this comprehensive master plan that we're going through is to tweak the uses in these codes. Most of the hamlets in our town have been upzoned or downzoned, if you wanted to call it, to the density is like 10%, 15%, Route 58, we're done. All the lots are gone. So what's left now is take the uses that are allowed under these zoning classifications that make sense for the hamlets. This could never be built anywhere else in this town other than in the industrial park at the airport. It's like the solar. When people say, we don't want any more solar, that's already banned. You can't have solar in Jamesport, Accaboog, downtown Riverhead, Calverton, or Wading. You can only have it around the airport in the 2 industrial zones. So what we're here today is that we believe that we're a manufacturing process and that complies with the zoning the way it's written right now. Now, as far as the rest of it is getting our permits and being regulated, that comes when we actually are allowed under this zoning to put the application into the various agencies, including the town of Riverhead for site plan, the health department, the DEC, and everywhere else we got to go. Also, the key, one of the reasons why we like this location is we're only about 200 yards away from the rail. The material would come in sealed containers. We'd have a forklift there we put it on a truck and we take it 200 yards down the road on Scott Avenue from probably one of the 2 sites next to Metro or Eastern Fence is where the rail spur ends there. And we would transport it into the building, and that's when it would be unsealed and unpackaged. And we have the utilities there, the water, the sewer, the gas. National Grid has the property has National Grid gas, so we could once we upgrade the gas that we produce here, we're going to try to have a contract where we can sell it back to the gas company. So that's the concept. This is the new technology. And the question before, I believe the Zoning Board of Appeals and all these other factors factor into your decision is basically, do we substantially meet, and I think we do, not substantially, meet the way the code is written, that we're a manufacturing facility. Yeah, we're an organic digester. We bring in organic material as our raw material, as the guys that are creating the metal, the Eastern Fence guys and the sheet metal guy, he brings in raw materials and he manufactures, and we're basically doing the same thing.
I was just going to state that. It may be...
Step up to the microphone, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say first, thank you again, and really just to simplify and summarize, we are addressing a solid waste management issue with a manufacturing facility that will solve it. I do thank you.
Identify the DEC permits that you need for the project.
Rich can answer that, absolutely.
As was stated earlier, we'll need a Part 361 solid waste management permit. There would be air quality permits for this facility. There would be a industrial pretreatment approval that'd be required through the Suffolk County DPW. There'll be a stormwater construction, stormwater management permit that would be required. Those would be the primary ones. Suffolk County Health Department would require some of the approvals for the sewer connection that would have to be made. And there would possibly be an Article 12 for storage of any hazardous materials. We may have some pH buffering chemical that's stored on site, for the safe operation of the digester, so they would have to be secondarily contained. But those are the main group of permits that be required. And we would have to go through the secret process with both, whether DC is the lead agency or the town, town takes lead agency. We would be required to go through that process.
Sounds simple enough.
Easy,
Good 5
easy
years.
peasy.
Okay.
Government at its best.
Okay, it's a short form.
Board members, anybody
Yeah.
have any questions right now?
Nope.
I think we have a little homework to do.
Okay, and of course, we would have to apply to the town of Riverhead for a site plan approval, which in this case would be before the town board,
That would be
in order
the least of
to
your
get a
worries.
building permit. What?
That would be the least of your worries.
That would be the least of them.
What do you want to do?
So essentially, we're gonna make an
Reserve the
interpretation
seating
of the
for
ordinance to
$10.
see if this fits in,
Oh, that's-
these components fit into our ordinance. And that's only what we're really here for, is to make an interpretation, and that's it. So do we approve of something like this? Of course we do, or at least I do. But does our zoning mean what they're asking for? Simple as that. Okay, Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
I said my 50 cent.
You've done well. So I think we're going to close the hearing. We'll stay open for 10 days with any written. Anybody have anything they want to say, just send us a letter. And other than that, we'll have a reserved decision for the next meeting. Do I hear a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Mr. Gazillo?
Aye.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire?
Aye.
Mr. Zawiski?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So thanks, everyone, for coming. We'll see you at the next meeting, which will be the
28.
28th. Thank you.